round of 16 draw. When was the last time we ever did any of this? It's been long. I've never actually done a round of 16 draw involving Arsenal on this channel. This is the first time, so hopefully many more to come. We are back in the Champions League round of 16. There are 32 teams now. There are 16 teams. Which team are you going to get today? So we'll get through the teams we could face today. Let me know which team you prefer to face in the round of 16. I've actually put a poll on YouTube asking you guys, do you prefer any specific draw? Do you prefer a favorable draw, like an easier team? There's no easy team in the Champions League, but you know what I mean. You know, you rather face this one than that one sometimes. Do you prefer a tougher team, or do you just want any team? You don't care absolutely. You're just confident about anyone. So far, 40% have said they prefer a favorable draw. 40% have said they prefer a tougher draw, and 20% have said give me any team. They absolutely do not care. So let's get through the teams that we could face today. Obviously, they will be scrolling down the bottom. So in terms of the draw, group winners: Bayern Munich, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Real Sociedad, Atletico Madrid, Dortmund, Man City, and Barcelona. So obviously we can't face any of those teams, but we can face Copenhagen. We can also face Napoli, Inter Milan, Lazio, PSG, Leipzig, FC Porto. So three Serie A teams there, and then you can go to France to face PSG. You could go to Germany to face Leipzig. We could go to Portugal to face FC Porto. All of those teams are good. What I like about those teams, I'll actually break down every single team. But what I like mostly is the fact that Champions League, most of the teams are not going to come and defend against you, apart from the teams that are in our ports, like Atletico Madrid. But the other teams, and even these days, Atletico Madrid actually score a bunch of goals. Like, I think they were the highest scorers in the Champions League. This is not the old Atletico Madrid, but you can't face them. The others, Inter Milan, have had a very good defense since last season. The Bastonis and all those guys, they've had a really good defense. So if you face Inter Milan, you might not score as many goals, but the rest, Leipzig and all those guys, it will be an end-to-end game. They'll try and attack you, so you'll get a lot of space. So let me see what you guys are saying. The drill will be starting in like 15 minutes. Obviously, they have to talk and all that. How are you, Kenny? How are you, Elias? Bernard says we are ready. Bring on any team. Bernard doesn't care about which team we are facing. He's ready for any team. Stanislas says we might get back to France with PSG or Italy with Napoli. Those are the toughest draws you can get, probably, maybe alongside Inter Milan. I'd say Inter Milan and PSG first, and then Napoli third. If it was Napoli from last season, they would have been top of that list. But this season, obviously, they changed manager already like twice, so it's not the same Napoli from last season. Lazio versus AC Milan, says Dennis. I wouldn't mind that at all. I watched Lazio yesterday against Inter Milan, and Inter Milan kind of made it easy. They won the game 2-0. Mary says any team. Ilya says Leipzig versus Arsenal. I'd love that as well. Frederick says any team. And Anu says good morning. Good morning to you as well. Anu, nice seeing you guys, all you guys here. So let's break down the teams that we could face today. The first one is Copenhagen. So obviously, Copenhagen played Man United. You watched them. They beat Man United 4-3 at their place. They lost 1-0 at Old Trafford. So they are a very good team. Not as easy as you'd expect, but this is Arsenal. This is not Man United. So if we end up facing a team like Copenhagen, I wouldn't mind it at all. That would be the easiest draw that we can get. That is the truth. That would be the easiest draw that we can get. That's a team that we can go there. It's not really it's a good away atmosphere. I'd say it's not like going to Turkey or going to those countries where you're absolutely like drowned in that atmosphere. I think Denmark is slightly better. So Copenhagen would be a good away game. And then back at the Emirates, these days we don't lose at the Emirates, so I would fancy us at the Emirates. Remember, these games are going to happen in February, March, so there's a lot of things that are going to happen between now and then. We could have our players back. Timber could be back. Tomiyasu could be back by then. We might have already signed 2 or 3 more players, so things will have changed by then. Another good thing about finishing top of your group by then, before I come to the rest of the teams, is the fact that you're going to play the second game away at home. So the first game is away from home. If you go there and you get a good result, and the second game you're bringing them back at home, absolutely perfect. This season, we've already beaten Man City at the Emirates. We've already beaten Man United at the Emirates. We've drawn with Tottenham. In the Champions League, we beat every single team at the Emirates, Lens, PSV, and Sevilla without conceding any goal at all. 0 goals conceded at the Emirates. And we need to use that home form to find the Champions League. If you want to find the Champions League, we need to use that home form. If you can go away in the Champions League, I don't mind going away and drawing. If you get like a Lazio or Napoli, if you go away from home and even pick up you draw, that is fine, because these days there's no away goals and all that. So if you bring them back to the Emirates, you fancy yourselves. PSG obviously is the kind of toughest teams you could face. 2 years ago, it would have been more difficult. They had Messi, Neymar, and all those guys. Di Maria was there. Right now, it's not the same PSG. They have Mbappe, obviously. They have Colomwani, who misses a bunch of chances. He annoyed me the time they were playing against Newcastle. They have the youngster called Emre. They still have a very good squad. Their goalkeeper, even though right now is not that good, 3 years ago he won the best goalkeeper. So PSG would be the toughest team to face. It would be either Ben White or Tomiyasu up against Mbappe. That would be a proper test if he ended up facing PSG, depending on who's back by then. Timber could also be back by then. But PSG is a team that I would love to avoid. But I think the last season we were in the Champions League, we actually played PSG in the groups, and I think we did well against them. Did we like draw both games or something like that? So preferably, if you're to ask me one team to avoid, I'd say PSG. I don't mind the others, but I would like potentially to avoid PSG. Lazio, definitely love to face Lazio. At home at Fancias. Away from home, there's always an atmosphere there. They share a pitch with Roma. There's always an atmosphere there. It's always crazy. But at Fancias against Lazio, they're in the same group with Atletico Madrid and those guys. They did well, actually, but I would have expected them to go through in a group where they had Celtic and Feyenoord. So Lazio going through, I would prefer Lazio. If you're to ask me which team I want first, I would say Lazio. Napoli, as I said, if it was last season, a lot of people wanted to see Arsenal against Napoli. People wanted to see Dortmund against Napoli, Dortmund against Arsenal, because those are the teams that were doing really well last season, surprising people. This season, they kind of obviously dropped off. Their manager left, and then this season they started with a new manager. He also got sacked. They now have a new manager. There's always, if you face Napoli by January, maybe Osimhen would have gone or something like that. So let's wait and see. I wouldn't mind Napoli as well. That would be a very good game. Arsenal against Napoli. A lot of people have been asking about Arsenal Napoli last season. We might get it this season. But I wouldn't. I don't care about avoiding them. If we get them, that is fine. PSG is a team that if we are getting, I'd be like, no, I'm not sure, man. The likes of Mbappe, those are World Cup winners, and the likes of Colomwani in the World Cup final the other day. Leipzig, I don't mind Leipzig at all. Leipzig would be another team that I'd absolutely love. Depends on which kind of game you want. Leipzig, obviously, they've played Man City a lot the last 3 or 4 seasons, and they're very open. There's a time they lost to Man City 6-3. This season they lost 3-2. They're very open. They play an open game. There's Xavi Simons and all those guys that love going forward. They have fullbacks who love going forward. So they'll give you chances. Even if you go to Leipzig away, don't be surprised if you create 15 chances at their place. That's they'll play an open game, but they'll also create chances against you. So you're not going to get a 0-0 against Leipzig, really. You're going to get a 3-2 or 4-3. If you can take your chances, it could even be 6-3, depending on how you approach the game. But over the last couple of years, Leipzig actually has a better experience than us in the Champions League, especially in the knockout stages. They've made it to those runs last couple of years as well. So they have more experience than us recently. Leipzig. Another team that I'd be like, is Inter Milan, because Inter Milan is those ones that have a lot of experience. They are very good defensively. They have a very good manager. They have players who've played in World Cup finals. They've played in Champions League finals recently. The Lautaro Martinez and all those guys. Thuram is playing really well. We have former players there like Mkhitaryan. Çalhanoğlu is playing really well there as well. Inter Milan's defense is my worry. Inter Milan, you're going to need 1 goal or 2 goals to beat them. It can't be 5-2 on aggregate or anything like that. No, you're going to have to squeeze a 2-1 win in both games or something. So Inter Milan is very, very good defensively. Again, actually, no, between Inter Milan and PSG, which one is tougher? Inter Milan and PSG. PSG are probably going to play more open. Inter Milan, you're going to have very minimal chances. And in terms of Champions League, recently, Inter Milan have reached a final. PSG have never, not come anywhere close, apart from, they were in the final in 2019 or 2020, something like that. They lost to Bayern. So Inter Milan is also in terms of boring game. If you want an entertaining game, maybe you won't get you don't want to get Inter Milan because especially if we approach it defensively as well, and Inter Milan approach it defensively as well, it could easily be a 0-0 because we are very good in defense, and Inter Milan as well since last season they've been quite good in terms of defense. So I've gone through PSG, Copenhagen, Lazio, Napoli, Leipzig, Inter Milan. Lastly, FC Porto. FC Porto as well. I've watched FC Porto the last few years playing against Liverpool. I think they played against Liverpool in like 3 of those last 5 seasons or something. You can get at them, obviously. They have a good squad as well, but I mean, they have a 40-year-old Pepe playing at the back, so you would fancy the players that are playing for us in that game. But FC Porto, again, no complaints at all. If you got FC Porto, absolutely fine. But there's a couple of teams here that if we get, it's going to be an entertaining game, totally. Leipzig, Napoli, PSG, those teams will probably like open up and it's going to be 3-2, 3-1, whatever, 4-2. It could be an entertaining game. Copenhagen, most people would say Copenhagen. Don't underestimate them. I mean, they beat Man United 4-3. Not that it is hard to beat Man United anyway, but Copenhagen, they did very good to come through that group. You know, they finished second in that group, which is very, very good result. And they actually went to Bayern Munich and drew. So Copenhagen are not just an easy walk in the park. They actually went to Bayern Munich and drew as well, and they were unlucky not to get a draw at Old Trafford. Lazio wouldn't mind atmosphere. That's I guess the toughest atmosphere from all these teams. Lazio. Again, Porto is just okay. If you get it, fine. Inter Milan is the one that is you're not going to get an entertaining game here. Probably you're going to get a very solid and tactical game here. You're not going to get too many goals against Inter Milan. But let's wait and see which team we are going to be facing. Obviously, there's other teams in the draw as well. Let me know, is there any specific team you'd like to avoid? Is there any specific team that you would like to avoid? Besides, I prefer Napoli. Why? Because like you want an entertaining game, or do you think they're the easier team, or do you just feel like it's going to be a more entertaining game? Let me know why. They're actually about to get started. Oh, Champions League draw, man. This is so exciting. Top of the table, UCL round of 16 draw. We've come from far, man. 2 years ago, we were in the mud. We had no European competition. We were watching draws. We were like 7th on the table. It was tough times, man. Tough times. Players arguing with the manager. Players who don't want to be there. We couldn't sign anyone good. Tough times, man. We've come from far. We've really come from far. They always have to give us the procedure, as always. So we've gotten a Leipzig, we've gotten a Lazio, we've gotten a Napoli and a PSG. We've gotten Napoli. No one's saying Inter Milan. No one's saying Inter Milan. No one likes Inter Milan. No one wants Inter Milan. So far, 50% are saying they prefer a favorable draw. 25% are saying they prefer a tougher draw. And 25% say give me any team. Interesting. Interesting. John Terry is doing the draw. John Terry is doing the draw. This guy is probably going to give us a tough draw, isn't he? John Terry is a Chelsea fan. Obviously, he's going to give us a tough draw. But John Terry is doing the draw for some reason. Crown says I prefer Lazio. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Lazio as well. In terms of order, I would say... in terms of order, I'd say Lazio was my first one. And then Leipzig. Actually, no. Lazio, Copenhagen, Leipzig. Those are my top 3 that I would like absolutely love. And then maybe FC Porto, and then Napoli, and then the last 2, PSG and Inter Milan. Those ones are tough. Those ones are tough. But we're in the Champions League. We're in the Champions League, man. We're in the Champions League. We can't be scared of any team, right? These days, like, I'm in such a good place as an Arsenal fan. Like, I feel like just give me any team. Like, 5 years ago, we'll talk about the Liverpool game this week, but 5 years ago, going to Liverpool, I was scared. This time, I'm like, can Saturday reach quickly because I can't wait for that game. Like, I'm actually expecting us to go there and get a couple of goals, which is crazy because we were never that confident playing against this kind of teams. If this was 3 years ago, I would have been absolutely dreading facing these teams. Ilya says, "Want to avoid PSG." I'd like to avoid PSG as well. Ismail says they prefer Inter Milan. It's a long time we visit San Siro. Yeah, you're right. But remember, you can always visit San Siro in the quarterfinal or semi-final. It doesn't have to be in the round of 16. But yeah, it's been long. It's was it like 2011? I think we played AC Milan. It wasn't even a good. It wasn't a good. If I remember correctly, I don't think it was a good result. I think we lost 4-0 the last time we went to San Siro. I think Ibrahimovic scored, and those guys, even Pato, I think, used to play for AC Milan that time. It was tough. It was tough. But I have very good memories from San Siro. I think it was 2008 where we went there and won and became like the first team to beat AC Milan at San Siro, English team. Good memories, man. Let's wait and see, says the Gunners. Whatever comes our way, we are ready, brother. So they're talking to John Terry as always. Maybe the drill will be starting in the next 2 minutes, I'd say, after they give us the things that you already know, after they give us the rules and everything. So yeah, most people want to avoid PSG. People want to avoid Napoli and Inter Milan, but the others, I guess, people are okay with any. Don't be surprised if you face PSG though, but that would be good because people have said they started by saying Arsenal cannot make it out the group. They're not good enough for the Champions League. Now they've changed and they're saying Arsenal cannot get past the round of 16. They didn't play anyone really in the group stage. So let's see. Maybe if you face PSG and Inter Milan and eliminate them, then it's something different. Obviously, you prefer an easier route. There is the chance of people want a harder team. Yes, that is fine. But do you want to face Inter Milan in the round of 16 and then Real Madrid in the quarterfinal, and then if you make it, you have Man City in the semi-final, and then if you win all those games, then everyone will start respecting you. But you prefer an easier time, especially if you're fighting for the Premier League as well. You don't want to face Man City today in the Premier League, and then you have Real Madrid in the Champions League on Wednesday, and then that weekend you have Liverpool, and then the next weekend you have another return leg against Madrid. We prefer a couple of easier ties. Remember, even in the FA Cup, we've gotten Liverpool, so we've not gotten any easier draw. Maybe this is the first time you're going to get an easier draw. In the group stage, maybe your group was fine, but hey, it's Arsenal. Let's get any team, as the Gunners have said. PSG is nothing. I mean, they lost heavily to Newcastle. You're right. The thing is, though, I guess it depends on the January transfer window. PSG is one of those teams that can just go and sign 4 or 5 players. I actually thought they signed decent players. I thought Colomwani and Ramos and Asensio would be good for them. It's been a little bit quiet, although they're top of the league as always, though. Giving us the procedure still. So there's a couple of good games you could get. You could get Bayern Munich against PSG. You could get Real Madrid against Inter Milan. So I've seen the Inter Milan fans. I've seen all those guys. The Inter Milan fans are saying, you know what, I prefer Arsenal. Obviously, we don't want to face Real Madrid. We prefer Arsenal. So let me bring that up on screen. They're about to do the picture in picture. Is it called that? Let's see. I think it should be here. Live updates. It should be here somewhere. So I guess they'll be drawing the group runners up first. Yep, here we go. I hope the volume is not too loud. They could get blocked. They're gonna say they want to be in your show, and I'll find a way. So the draw is starting right now. Let's see. The first team out. FC Porto is the first team out. Let's see. FC Porto is the first team out. FC Porto is the first team out. FC Porto will play against Arsenal. Nice. FC Porto against Arsenal. We're actually the first team to get drawn out. FC Porto, Arsenal. Not the easiest, but that's literally in the middle. That's right in the middle in terms of those teams you could have gotten. You could have gotten Napoli, PSG, Inter Milan, and you could have gotten the easier ones like Copenhagen, those guys. I think FC Porto is not bad. If you pick up a result at their place, you're in a very good place. So we are going to face FC Porto right away. Arsenal against FC Porto. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let me bring this back up. FC Porto. FC Porto, I watched a couple of their group games. They are good. They are good, especially at their place. Napoli against Barcelona against Napoli. Barcelona against Napoli. We didn't have to wait too long. We are the first team to come out of the draw. Let's go. Let's see. It's good to get your team and then you just relax. PSG. PSG against I am really happy with FC Porto. I could have been happier with Copenhagen or someone, but I really do not mind FC Porto. I mean, you cannot start choosing between FC Porto and those guys. That's a good draw to get. That's a really good draw. We could have easily had the Inter Milans and those guys. Yes, Porto is finished, says Ibisami. Porto is finished, hopefully. But PSG Sport, that's why they are going to an easy team. Real Sociedad against PSG. Wow, I think PSG will be really happy with that. Finishing second and getting Sociedad, I think PSG will be really happy with that. Now, Real Sociedad is not an easy team, but in terms of PSG not facing Man City and Bayern, I think PSG, I saw PSG fans saying, oh my God, we're going to face Man City or Bayern or Madrid. They've avoided all three of them. They're going to face Sociedad. Inter Milan is the next team out. Inter Milan is the next team out. So far, FC Porto against Arsenal, Napoli against Barcelona, PSG against Real Sociedad. Inter Milan will face Atletico Madrid against Inter Milan. Wow, this game 2 years ago it would have been a 0-0. Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid. PSV is the next team out. Of course, we played PSV. PSV will face. Oh, don't give. Man City. I know Man City is going to get. Man City could get this one. Man City always so lucky in draws. John Terry actually gave us a good draw. Okay. Dortmund. Wow. PSV Dortmund. That's a good one. That's a good one. I think PSV will be very happy with that, and Dortmund will be very happy with that. I think it's a balanced draw so far. I don't know what you guys think. I think it's a balanced draw so far. PSV Dortmund, Inter Milan, Atletico, Napoli, Barcelona, PSG, Real Sociedad, FC Porto, Arsenal. Lazio is the next team out. Lazio are going to play against Bayern Munich. Lazio are going to play Bayern Munich. I was just actually saying before we started the draw, we could face 40-year-old Pepe. Hopefully, it doesn't score against us. We are going to face Pepe. I don't think we've ever faced Pepe and those guys. So same season, we faced Ramos. We are going to face Pepe as well. What in the 2012 is this? Next team out is Copenhagen. Copenhagen is the next team out. Man City are going to play against Copenhagen. Oh God. You know, Man City always how do this. Even the next round, you'll see them facing PSV in the next round, and then RB Leipzig is the next team. Man City against the hell is that? Now, I mean, maybe they'll show Man United how to beat Copenhagen. Let's see. Leipzig against Real Madrid. I think many teams will be happy with the draw, you know? I think so many teams. I don't think we've gotten a proper big tie. I don't think we've gotten a proper big tie. Just look at this. I think Arsenal will be very happy to face FC Porto. And you know what? Even looking at that, if we are being humble, I'm sure like FC Porto would have preferred to face Arsenal than Man City and Bayern Munich and those guys. That is the truth. Napoli are facing Barcelona. I think that's a balanced one as well. I don't think both teams will be very mad about that. PSG, Sociedad, maybe Real Sociedad will feel hard done by, but I'm sure they can beat PSG, and I'm sure PSG will be happy with that draw. Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid, I'm sure both teams don't mind that at all. Both teams will fancy themselves. PSV, Dortmund, best draw for both teams. Lazio, Bayern, maybe Lazio will feel very hard done by here. Maybe they're the only team, but in terms of Bayern, they're very happy with that. So the teams that were seeded, I'd say Arsenal are very happy with the draw. Barcelona are happy. Dortmund are happy. Bayern are happy. Real Madrid are happy. Man City are very, very happy with that draw. So that's a good draw. That's a balanced draw. We haven't gotten any like tough game or anything like that. I'm seeing my team Arsenal in the next round, says Tanslers, I hope. And then Degani says Man City. Haha, this is a trick for Man City. Man City are definitely, I think they're definitely going to go through. Let's be honest. Can I predict right away before even the January transfer window? Arsenal, Barcelona, Real Sociedad. I'm going Inter Milan, Atletico. Wow, this is a tough one, you know. I'm going to go with Atletico. I'm going to go with Dortmund, and then Bayern, Man City, Real Madrid. Okay, I mean, if you make it to the next round now, you're going to face the big boys that you guys want. The next round, you could easily have Man City, Bayern, Real Madrid. You're going to face the big teams that you want. But hey, we found out which team you're going to play against. It is FC Porto. Man City are going to play against Copenhagen. I think both teams will be very, very happy with that draw. So we'll break this down more later. Bet Arsenal will qualify to the quarterfinal, says Frederick. I'm hoping so. And but I think they want to create a way for English teams because the final is in England. I mean, the draw is it was very random, but yeah, I wouldn't mind if there's something like that going on there. But imagine that Man City against Arsenal in the Champions League final at Wembley. God, that would be crazy. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you make of the draft of the video as well. And yeah, FC Porto, bring them on.